Hello, everybody. I am Dr. Dream, and you found yourself on at the It's All Good Circle on Monday, August the 11th, 2025. And I started this circle tonight, and for the first 20, 25 minutes or whatever it is, I did not record it. So I'm having to go back and create this that I'll then add to the rest of the recording. Last week, we explored the foundations of frequency. Our three-part series is called Raise Your Frequency and Owning Your Power. Last week, we explored the foundations of frequency, what it is, how it works, and how our thoughts, emotions, and environment can shift it. So it's only appropriate that this week we move from theory into practice, into the practical application. And we're going to talk about how to clear your energy, protect it, and then raise it daily. So you're not just reacting to the world, but you're actively creating the frequency you want to live in. And the reason this is important, because whatever frequency you're holding is going to attract like frequency to you. And it's just really important to remember that. The first step in this tonight that I'm going to talk about is regarding energy clearing and self-care techniques. We are energetic beings, and we live in a world that's constantly exchanging energy. Every conversation, every environment, every thought leaves a trace in our field. Okay, so you have a conversation with someone and they are holding a victim mentality. If you don't shut it down, if you just accept it, if that's what the input is, then you're going to be owning that. Back in the days of having, when personal computers were coming about, I'm old enough to remember that, there was a statement, and it was garbage in, garbage out. And so, your frequency is based on everything that you're experiencing and that you're allowing in your world, every conversation, every environment, and every thought. And so it's super important for us to pay attention to our thoughts and to the energies that other people are putting out to us, and what we're surrounding ourselves with. And we get to talk about all of this tonight. If we don't clear ourselves regularly, those traces can build up like dust on a mirror, and we can start to feel dull, heavy, or unbalanced. But the good news is you can clear your energy field in absolute minutes, anytime, anywhere, and most of what you can do is all absolutely free. And the first thing that I talked about tonight, and so this is the second time I get to share it, is smudging. And I'm going to light some Palo Santo here. And get this going. I'm also going to change the background so you all can see. I'm in the sanctuary on wheels doing this, and so but you're now there we go. You can see the Palo Santo, which is a type of wood that clears energy, and the way that it works, it's sage or Palo Santo can do this. It's called smudging. It works on multiple levels. Physically, the smoke carries compounds that purify the air. So that's on the physical level. On the energetic level, it resets the vibration of your space. So you hold the smudge stick, you light it as I just did, but it's tough to get the Palo Santo lit. So I'm going to light it again. You got to let it just burn for a little bit till it's showing some nice red embers. And then if it's just you, you can do this, and above the crown chakra, the different chakras all around the body and behind you. If you have a friend or someone, you can also take a fan and fan yourself with the smoke, slowly move it around your body, and it has intention. So you have an intention. By the way, everything you do has an intention. And so if we slow down enough and we're not 10 steps ahead of ourselves in our experience or in our thoughts, we can really connect with the intention of what we're doing in the moment. And with the smudge stick or the Palo Santo, the intention would be I release all energies that are not mine, and I call my own energy back to me now. And again, it doesn't take much, and it's a really nice, easy thing for you to do. Now, if you're someplace where the smoke isn't going to work out or you're sensitive to the smoke, you can do everything we just said by just connecting your intention to a ceremony of sorts. Okay, I release all energies that are not mine, and I call my own energy back to me now, and create some movements for it, and just focus your intention on what you're wanting to do. Works great with the sage or the Palo Santo, but it can be just as powerful without. And that's the thing about intention, because intention is everything. You set your intention. That's like a prayer between you and God, source, the universe. And you're saying, this is what I am choosing to manifest right now in this moment. This is my intention. And we set intentions when we start our day. We set intentions before we have meetings. Stephanie and I are working on manifesting a EE System Healing Center here in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And, we have an intention of the why of us doing that, to be in service, to be pillars, energetic pillars in this community, helping people with the destination healing center in this most amazing environment. And so everything we do, we're going to get a business plan together. We're meeting with realtors. We're talking to investors and everything else. But you know what? The foundation is intention. And then the second part of that foundation is the second part of what I want to talk to you about tonight, which is visualization. And there was a study done years ago, and it was they did this with professional golfers. And what they did was they had these golfers that were going to be in a tournament the following week. And it was, I believe it was Pebble Beach, the golf course in Northern California, one of the premier golf courses in the world. Every pro golfer knows all about Pebble Beach, and it's there overlooking the ocean and everything, and it's an amazing golf course. And so I believe they focused on like hole number 8. And they had a golfer come into this office and had electrodes hooked up to him and everything. And they had him visualize to the most minute detail of everything he was going to do on hole number 8 on this amazing golf course. And so he's picking his club. He's putting his tee into the green. He's gently placing his ball on it. He's looking at the flag and visualizing, seeing the hole way over there where he wants the ball to go in. And then he's getting his stance, and he's looking, and he's getting his stance, and the backswing ever so perfect, and then connecting with the ball and the sound of what that makes, and then the follow through, and then he's following the ball with his eyes, and it's just the most amazing shot ever. And they go through this visualization, and they're checking his brain waves and his energetic field. The following week, they go to the golf course, and they hook up all the same stuff to him, and he does everything but in the physical reality. And guess what they found? There was no difference in the brain waves or his energetic body at all. His brain did not know the difference between the visualization and the actual doing of it. Okay, isn't this amazing? So when you visualize, like we've been visualizing the center in Coeur d'Alene and walking in the morning, unlocking the door, turning the lights on, seeing the EE system towers, or maybe it's going to be around the ceiling, but we're visualizing every piece of it. And then people coming in, sharing their miracle stories of the healing that they're experiencing. I mean, we're making it real before we've even found a building yet, before we've even got all the money together yet. It's already real in the visualization of our minds. And that's going to drive this project forward like it will any project. And so, if you are having a heavy discussion with your spouse before you go in for this discussion, visualize you speaking from your heart, sharing what's most important to you, and that it comes out in a beautiful way that your spouse can understand. And doing that before a business meeting, before a personal thing, before anything that you do that is of importance to you. So with energy clearing, you would visualize, imagine you're standing beneath a waterfall of golden white light, see it pouring over you, washing away heaviness, doubt, and fatigue. Feel it soaking into every cell, leaving you clear, bright, and renewed. Hey, it doesn't have to take a long time. It doesn't have to be a big deal. Just take the moments. Be present before you're moving into whatever it is. Be present with, the energy clearing and see the clearing. Visualize the energy clearing and then go through the process. And this is about where I left off. I'm going to stop this video now, and we're going to piece it together with the rest of the video, and it'll take us into the energetic cord cutting. Thank you for your understanding. And it then also reminded me that I got so excited doing all of this and everything that I didn't start the recording. So thank you for then sort of slipping in there. I will figure out what to do. I'll do a little private talk and fill in the stuff, and then we'll have this recording. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the energetic cord cutting. And some of you saw online that I got this amazing knife with the two dragons on the thing, and I thought, well, how am I ever going to use this knife? And I'm like, well, it's art. The guy literally said to me, you probably won't be using this in the kitchen. I'm like, I probably won't. But I got super excited about it once I decided that, wow, this is the perfect knife for the energetic cord cutting. And so I'm going to take you through a very simple and accessible energetic cord cutting process. It is easy to remember and easy to do. And here's the thought about the need to cut energetic cords. It's not just like, oh, I was in a relationship with someone for 8 years, I've got these energetic cords. It could be that, oh, this person is involved in my industry and they're doing all sorts of weird stuff. I feel that there's an energetic cord with me. Or it could be just, I watched this thing and I feel like I'm now sort of have an energetic cord with this person. Use it however you want. And the first step, set the intention. Find a quiet space, close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths, and say silently or aloud, however works for you, I choose to release any energetic cords that are not serving my highest good. Okay, remember, everything starts with intention, because if you don't have an intention, why would you be doing it to start with? So don't rush anything. Identify the intention. And then visualize the cords. Imagine energetic cords connecting you to people, situations, emotions that feel heavy or draining or just constricting. Whatever word, whatever energetic it is for you, give it a word, picture it, see them clearly in your mind's eye. And then call in support. Ask for divine source, angels, guides, your higher self to assist you. God, source, the universe. God, universe, source. I call that entity Gus. Let's call Gus in to help me right now. And then you say, please help me cut and release all cords that do not serve me now. Okay, you don't even need to take notes on this. It's that easy. I'm just calling in support to assist me in cutting cords that do not serve me now. And some of there may be cords that you're going to cut in this process that you haven't even identified are energetic cords connected to you. You know, leave the door open a little bit. Whatever doesn't serve me now that's energetically corded to me, I am cutting with the assistance of Gus, God, universe, source, the divine source, my angels, my spirit guides, my helpers, all those that are here to serve my highest and best. And then visualize a sword. Okay, visualizing a sword. This is called the dragon tooth. Dr. Dream, born in the year of the dragon. All makes sense. And visualize, again, a sword, scissors, or a beam of light, cutting each cord cleanly. As each cord is released, see it dissolve into light and float away. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Some to my brain. Whoosh. I got to be careful because it is actually a very sharp knife. Yes. All right. I got to use that. I have not used that yet. And then we have a step number 5 is called seal and heal. And this is imagine golden light flowing into the spaces where the cords once were, sealing and filling with love, peace, and strength. So you're replacing it. You've now cut the cords, and now you're replacing it, those indentations or those places where they were connected, and you are filling that in with love, light, and peace. You're like, okay, this is done. Now it's like you got a little thing in the wall and you need to, do a little patch on it or whatever it is. And then the final step number 6 is gratitude and closure. We take a deep breath and we say, I am free, whole, and fully connected to my own energy. Thank you. And that's it. This process can be done daily or anytime you feel drained or overly connected to someone or something, anything. Okay, maybe you made the mistake of talking to someone who's really political and you're like, oh boy, it just brought all that into my field. I need to cut those cords because, that's not going to help me get through my day. That's not going to help me manifest my highest and best. That's not going to help me be at the peak level of who I came here to be to get caught up in all of that. It's best to keep the tone loving and compassionate. And so when you are cutting the cord, it's not like, oh, that SOB, or cut the cord. Keep it loving and compassionate. And that's the energetic. There's no anger in this. There's no blame. There's no victim mentality. You're being proactive and cutting energetic cords that no longer serve you. And that's exciting. That's like, oh, this feels really good. And I love myself this much to be doing this process. And so it's a beautiful thing. This is about freeing your energy, not rejecting others. And so just kind of keep all that in mind. If you want a copy of the energetic cord cutting process, find me on Facebook or text me or send me an email, and I'll send you this one pager on how to do that. Now, we've just got to remember that what we're doing is it's a process. And this next step or this 4th energetic is grounding. So after we've done the clearing, we need to reconnect. And so grounding is your energetic reset button, as it were. And so you stand barefoot on the grass, the soil, or the sand. You close your eyes. You feel roots extending from the soles of your feet deep into the earth. And with each inhale, you draw up stability and nourishment. And with each exhale, you release any lingering tension. Now, people used to say, oh, I've got to go to a nice place to do the grounding. And this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, you know what? You're just creating excuses for why you're not going to do it. Oh, I couldn't drive to my favorite park. Oh, I couldn't go to my favorite, mountain or lookout or whatever. And I'm like, step outside your freaking front door. There is ground there, even if it's just a little patch of grass, whatever it is. And for those of you that are, completely city bound, concrete works. And 45 seconds of you focusing your intention on getting grounded, that's all it takes. And it's just a really good process. And we've got to remember that energetic hygiene is like physical hygiene. It's not a one-time thing. You didn't shower when you were 5 years old and then decide you never needed to shower again. All right. You're constantly cleaning your physical self, and you need to be, or I am suggesting for you, a good idea might be, that was much more gentle. A good idea might be to go through an energetic hygiene process daily, every other day, a few times a week, something like that. It just makes sense. The next step is boundaries as protection. Once your energy is clear, the next step is to protect it. Think of your frequency as your life's currency. It's what fuels your experiences. Boundaries are not shutting people out. They are choosing what you allow in and what you allow to stay. Okay. And only you can do that. There was a time that it seemed like I was surrounded by all these people and they were all talking about energy vampires. And I'm like, what a crazy concept. You all giving up your power to these energy vampires. And I'm like, no one can take from you except what you allow them to. So step it up. Energy vampires have no hold on you. It's a fear concept that doesn't do anything to raise your frequency. And setting boundaries, and I was doing something for a friend today, and there was a step that he needed to do in this process, and I told him what the step was last night, and today he still hadn't done the step. And I decided, well, I could go ahead and do what I'm going to do, or you know what? I'm not, because everything's energy, and he's not crossing the energetic T's and dotting the energetic I's, as it were. And so why should I do my next step in the process, which serves him at a very high level, if he's not going to do his step in the process? And when I talked to him, I literally said, we're all energy, and we create these loops of energy between us, and you didn't follow up on it, so I'm not going to follow up until you do, and that'll tell me you're ready. And this is one of my dearest friends. We go back over 3 decades. Okay, I certainly could have cut a corner with this one, but I was like, no, that's not how it works. I have a way of doing things. I have commitments that I need people to make to me before I follow through on my commitment to them, and they know that. And if they're not going to do that, I'm not going to do my end of it. It's a very clear boundary today. And guess what? I thought, oh, he's probably going to be a little pissed off, think that I, am being nitpicky or whatever. He was totally fine with it. Absolutely, fully, wholly, and accepting of everything that I was saying. And why? Well, because it all made sense to me, and we're to be here in service to each other, and that means that we need to honor that and be respectful of that. So, just an example. Without healthy boundaries, you can absorb other people's moods, anxieties, or negativity without even realizing it. And when that happens, your frequency drops. Not because of who you are, but because you're carrying energy that isn't yours. I remember years ago, I got tired of people showing up in my field and being victims. And so I started calling them out. And I would say, what you're saying right now is you owning that you can be a victim. And you know what? Quite honestly, I'm tired of hearing this from you. And I need you to step up and address this, and I'll help you address it. But if you're not willing to do that, I can't have continued contact with you. And I will tell you that some of these people gave me a nickname that was probably started with A and ended with hole. And I didn't care. It made no difference to me at all, because if I validate just by being like that friendly human etiquette where you're just like, oh yeah, the police, they're so bad, terrible, or oh, this politician, oh, what a terrible thing that they're doing to all of us. As soon as you validate that, because you're just being a nice human, and that's what you think etiquette is, you are saying to God source, or to God universe source, you're saying to Gus, I can be a victim too. And I thought, no more. I'm not doing it. And guess what happened? Some of those people stepped up and started dropping their victim mentality. And some of those people I've never heard from again. And guess what? I'm fine with it. I'm absolutely fine with it. They were no longer playing a role that I wanted them to play in my experience. They were playing a role that was, I was buying into. It was bringing me down. And I'm like, I've had it with this. The buck stops here. And that is one of my greatest examples of boundaries that I set. And I lost friends because of it. But were they really friends if all they needed was me to be a backboard of their victim mentality and to validate it? That's what they were using me for? No, I would say that that's not a friend. That's a toxic energetic. And we all have toxic energetics show up in our lives. And it's important for us to decide what our boundaries are, be very clear about it, state them, put it out there, and just own who we are and what we're allowing in and what we're allowing to touch us. So how do we protect ourselves energetically? Number one, energetic shielding. Every morning before you step into your day, imagine yourself surrounded by a bubble of shimmering light. I talked about this a little bit ago. A bubble of shimmering light. Pick a color that feels protective to you. Maybe it's gold. Maybe it's just a lustrous yellow like the sun. Maybe it's white light. The bubble is your filter. It's love, positivity, and joy can enter, and anything heavy or draining bounces off the bubble. It just can't get in. Okay. And you visualize it, you own it, this is my setting. This is what I own for my experience today. And things shift from that right away. Number two, clear communication. Boundaries don't just live in your imagination, as much as we'd like them to, they live in our words. And so practice saying, that doesn't feel aligned to me, or I'm not available for that right now, without apology. And your no, N-O, is a complete sentence. Okay. And you don't have to rationalize it. You don't have to do anything except be it, and own it at that highest level. And a lot of us aren't used to setting boundaries. It wasn't taught to us. No one, there were no classes in anywhere where we picked up our education that were like, here's good boundary setting skills or anything like that. And we just had to learn. And part of it is that you see what the lack of boundaries is doing to you. And you're like, no, I'm not playing this game anymore. I'm setting some new rules for my reality. And it shifts everything right away. And then the third piece of this is emotional detachment. You can care about someone deeply without taking on their pain. Practice saying, I'm sorry, my notes are getting mixed up. Remember, you're responsible for your energy and they are responsible for theirs. This isn't, it's a compassionate self-respect. And so we've got to just get used to, drawing the line in the sand and holding to it. I know some people that set boundaries and then they let people cross that line in the sand all the time. And it's like, okay, you were kind of there almost, and then you didn't allow it to go the rest of the way. When you honor your boundaries, you're telling the universe, my energy matters. And that affirmation alone raises your frequency. My energy matters. You've got important things to do here. I said in an 8-8 meditation on 8-8 that none of us came here to play small. Okay. And so this whole thing about raising our frequency is a very important step or steps in our process of owning the fact that we did not come here to play small, that we have a very important role to play. I tell people if they woke up breathing today, and oh my gosh, look, you all did, that you have a very important role to play here. Own it. It's you. We need you at that peak level of what it means to be you. And guess what? I don't know what that peak level is for you. You're the only one that knows that. But I'm owning and energizing that you're going to be able to step up to that and play that role, because that's what's going to change this world. That's what's going to get us all in the ascension process, get us all to the new world, get us all to be experiencing heaven on earth, whatever you want to call it, is us, each of us in our own way that we came here for, to step up and be our true selves. Certainly incredibly exciting. And so the next thing for me to talk about is frequency raising habits. And this is where I'm going to take you through a little bit of my world. Be careful. It's contagious. And I'm going to use a different camera. Well, look, there you all are on the screen. I wear this vest. Do you see it? It's like a holster. I got pockets on both sides. It connects in the back. I wear it every single place I go. Why? Because first of all, it holds everything I need it to hold. Second of all, it's all my energetics are attached to it. Look here, tensor rings on both sides. And then some other tensor ring type things. That's a tensor ring infinity. And here's more tensor rings. I use this tensor ring wand every single day. Normally I'm wearing it. I carry this every single day. This is an orgonite piece, super high powered orgonite made by a gentleman in Canada. It's got the Trixilian in the back. Can you see that? Yep. I carry a pendulum with me all the time. This is one of my favorite pendulums. And inside this pendulum are some very, very special crystals. The pendulum opens. And so this is like my power pendulum. I have another piece over here. It's a wooden and metal pendulum. And then it's got a chart here for when I'm penduluming things that are different than a yes, no, or like an A or a B or something like that. Vienna's on here. She is a master with muscle testing and how to make statements that then can be tested. I'm constantly using that. Here I've got an energetic. This is called a T1. It's made by a company called Blue Shield. I carry it in my pocket. And one of the things it does is it stops EMFs from affecting me when I'm outside of my energetically charged environment. So wherever I go, it's a scalar energetic actually, and I've got that with me. Here's my microphone. There's a symbol there that I'm not going to talk about. It's kind of a private symbol, but it's also on my light. There's my light. There's the symbol. So when I'm looking at my camera, which is right here, I'm looking at that symbol, and that symbol has deep, deep meaning for me. So I'm constantly connecting with it. Over here, I had this custom mandala made by a woman named Amber Forrest. She's going to be on a future podcast. We actually have two of them. One is on the ceiling. We have a rule here in the truck camper. We live basically most of our time in a truck camper. And the rule is if it doesn't raise our frequency, it doesn't make it up on the wall or whatever. It's got to, when I look at it or when Stephanie looks at it, it's got to raise our frequency. It's got to just give us some extra energy. Here I've got a three-dimensional dream catcher that we found down in Mexico on our last trip in December. And super powerful, means a lot to us. It's my favorite color, purple. I've got a glass heart right here. I've got that symbol again right here. I've got that symbol again right here. I have pictures from my daughter's wedding. Here I am. Oh, no, here's with her husband. And here I am looking at her before the wedding and seeing her for the first time in her wedding dress and tearing up. And I see that and it just immediately raises my frequency. I've got a glass handmade Merkaba from Zaki Glass in Australia. And I just ordered another symbol tree of life that he does that'll hang right here from this hook. Okay. Back here, we were at a festival and we saw this painting, and it's great because it's a painting of affirmations, going with the flow, ride the waves, positive energy. Today is a new day, excited, direction, gratitude, self-care. I love myself, all just every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, let me just pick out something new. Oh, look, there's abundant, there's inspired, there's successful. Behind me, this right here is a opal. It is a amazing honeycomb opal. I don't know if you can see it that well. It's just amazing. The colors, the energy of it. I've got these stickers that raise our vibration and frequency. I've got a spray bottle of special water with those stickers on it. I sprayed my carrots tonight. We had a big salad for dinner tonight. I sprayed my carrots and celery with it and then used our special Celtic sea salt because it sticks to it if it's a little bit damp. So I sprayed it with the high frequency water that's being charged with that. We drink the water from those bottles. We've got other things. I've got a 10-ounce bar of silver. I look at that and I'm like, yeah, I'm naturally abundant. Look, there's a 10-ounce bar of silver stuck to the wall behind me. Just all sorts of other things. We go to a lot of music festivals and we get all these pins, and every pin, like, sometimes I forget where they came from, but Stephanie knows where every single pin came from. And it raises, I'm just looking around. There's so much. I'm going to switch cameras now. But it just all raises our frequency. And so I'm trying to get to my other camera. Okay, here we go. I was doing oops, and then the lights go out. I was doing some work with someone the other day. Just cleared herself in the last week of stage 4 breast cancer. But weeks ago, I said to her, I want you to sit in your favorite chair in your house, and I want you to look around and see what doesn't feel good. Like, oh, you people with houses, you've got a lot of extra space. So there's like, oh, that corner over there where you kind of put stuff, you don't know where else to put it. Or look at everything that's on your wall and feel the energy. Say, does this assist me in being my highest and best? Does this get me excited for my day? If I'm feeling down and I look at that on my wall, is it going to give me what I need in that moment? And a week later, I did another call with her and she said, oh man, there were some family things. I didn't want to get rid of it, but we put it away for now because it didn't raise our frequency. It didn't make us feel good. We did have a corner where we were sort of stockpiling stuff, and it's like, and just got rid of all that. So she could just look around at her space and everything made her feel good. Mm-hmm. Here she is dealing with cancer and it's a heavy energetic. And so you don't know when you're just going to get hit with a wave of like oh my gosh, what's going on with me? And then you can just look over here and be like, oh, this reminds me of that trip that I did with my husband and we had such a good time, or whatever it is. And so you can take your environment and just raise the frequency of it. And only you know what makes you feel good. And it's fun. It's fun to do this. So question, what are your daily practices? What are you being proactive about? And I told you, each morning I get up and I have these statements about being my highest and best and being in service to humanity, and what is it that is my role today that puts me at the highest level. And then I close my eyes and visualize whatever comes to me, from the ether, from me, wherever that stuff comes from. Download from Gus, who knows, but and then it gives me what I'm ready for that day. And we don't always wake up in a great mood. I had a really weird dream the other night, and it's just like, oh, I got to shake this energy. And so these are activities you would do. Light the Palo Santo, clear your field a little bit, whatever it is. And now 5 really simple and free ways to raise your frequency, keeping it very practical. Your breath. Your breath is the bridge between your body and your energy. And I'm going to suggest you try what we call 4-7-8 breath. You inhale for 4 counts, you hold it for 7, and you exhale for 8. And I want to share with you, you always exhale longer than however long you inhale. It will relax your body right away. So if you inhale for 4, you've got to exhale for 5 or more. But this is a 4-7-8. It calms the nervous system, oxygenates the body, and lifts your mood in minutes. Susie Casaro sent me a video about, what was it called? I've got it right here because I wanted to talk about it. Oh, he says he has it right here. I've got so much great stuff. All right, it's called intermittent hypoxia. And it's a process where look it up online, intermittent hypoxia. And basically, you're holding your breath for 60 to 90 seconds. And what it does is it keeps you young, and it has your body creating different I'm lost and I didn't print it out, so I had it in front of me, but creating different things. Susie, have you tried it? Wait, you're muted. Are you there? You're getting there?
Okay, yeah. So, yes, I tried it. I actually have a background in transformational breathing where it's very similar to Wim Hof, not quite as dramatic as Wim Hof, but basically breathing in and out of the mouth. And this breath is on the exhale, is when you hold your breath. And that's really challenging to do. But it apparently it stimulates stem cell growth and just all kinds of a chemical change that happens in you. There's a lot of breath work that produces some pretty amazing things when you practice. I am getting more into the breath work again. Yeah.
And so am I, and I find it fascinating. I love Dr. Sandra's statement that we're all just one breath away from God. And that just reminds me how important, I mean, obviously breathing is important, but how important focused breathing is. If you go back through my podcast, Robbie Hayek was on. He's got Do As One, I believe his website is. And he is gathering 1 billion people to all breathe at the same time, cutting through all political, religious, and all beliefs. The common denominator for humanity is breath. And I did an amazing podcast with him, and we're going to have him back. So that's on breath. The other thing is sound. We can hum, we can chant, we can sing. Part of the what I do, bless you, Destiny. Part of what I do every morning is some toning with Om or one of the sounds, and also listening to uplifting music. Destiny and her boyfriend Stephanie and I all went last week to see Michael Franti, and I swear I was tearing up like 7 times during this concert, because that music and the lyrics and being with, the people I love so much, and just all of it was so powerful. He came out and he hugged me twice. Anyway, it was really, really something. Sound vibrates our cells. I have bowls. Obviously, I have bowls, sound healing practitioner that I play. Phil Roberts has bowls that he has stories about. And it's just, Daryl has an amazing bowl also we talked about recently, and just that sound. Okay, you can take 30 seconds. I'm not even talking about sitting there and just really, really going with it. Just 30 seconds of just striking it and getting that sound and just feeling into it can be such a game changer. So the other thing is nature. True. I mean, come on. It operates in the perfect frequency. Step outside. Let the sun touch your skin. Listen to the wind in the trees. Feel the rhythm of the earth. We're here on the Coeur d'Alene River. Stephanie was out there today just sitting on the rocks, her neck and head out of the water, just basking in the glory of the 90-some degree heat while she's in like the 70-degree water or whatever it was. These things all make a difference. And we're not talking about a lot of time. 10 minutes just appreciating nature is going to shift so much for you. Gratitude. I tell the story all the time that I thought I knew gratitude, and then I met Stephanie, and she showed me what true gratitude was, and I realized I was just a cocky fool thinking I knew what gratitude was, watching how she was with gratitude. And now we just fall into these gratitude loops and all, I mean, it literally, we go so deep into it, it brings us to tears. And we've got that to bounce off, to play with each other, with gratitude. But just gratitude, like no matter what's going on with you, you've got some aspect of your life to have gratitude for, and it's like the guy that felt bad because he had no shoes, and then he's walking down the street and he sees another guy that has no feet. I mean, that's a bit extreme, but I get it. But it hits the point home. There's a lot of people less fortunate than you are, no matter what you're going through. And it takes me to my next point here, which is service. That no matter how challenging your life seems or anything like that, you still have something for someone else. Okay. And it can be a smile. Last week, we talked about just smiling at the cashier at the grocery store, looking that person in the eyes and saying, I just want to tell you, I really appreciate you. Thank you for what you do. Okay. Cost you no money. It cost you no time. And, we have a voice, we have a heart, let the two of them, join forces and just put it out there. Random acts of being kind. We have these It's All Good carabiners that we got made to give away. It's all good.com on a carabiner, holds keys or whatever. We've got, these wooden nickels. I mean, it's silly. Check out my website. And on the back, it says it's all good.com. When we were in a restaurant the other day in Coeur d'Alene, And the woman, the server thanked us so much for being so calm and so just made it so easy for her. And then when she came back, I gave her a carabiner that said itsallgood.com and a wooden nickel. And she said, "What's it about?" And I said, "Oh, it's all good. I mean, it's about so much, but it's about loving people and raising their frequency." And she's like, "Oh, I love that." I'm like, "Great, check it out. Go to the website. Maybe join our circle on Monday nights. Maybe she'll be here one Monday night." But it's just amazing how we can just do small things. It doesn't have to be something large, and not for anyone to see us do it so we can get that sort of ego stroke out of it, to do it just because we want to do it, because we can, because a smile or a little extra tip or a little extra love or hugging a stranger can make an incredible difference in their day. You are that freaking powerful. Okay. And most of what I talk about doesn't cost anything. It just is you being so present in the moment. You know that a hug is going to shift something for someone, or a smile, or a compliment. Wow, I don't know what if you normally wear purple, but purple looks great on you. And then just go about your day. You have no idea what that does to somebody. I have to tell you that one day after my experience with Daryl on that Zoom call when I moved all the energy, and then I went to the arts and crafts fair, and in 10 minutes I got 7 compliments. Oh my gosh, just the chemicals that were released in me, were absolutely amazing. And it's like none of those people looked at me and thought, "Oh, I'm going to release chemicals for this guy." But they knew, like, just showing gratitude, showing appreciation, a compliment, a simple compliment in passing is a beautiful thing. You see someone, something strikes you, you can just share that. It doesn't have to be weird. It doesn't, like we can just be authentic. People will feel it. Okay. And it makes a huge difference. And so we had mind work for last week. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But for this next week, your invitation is to practice the 3 layers. Clear your energy daily, protect it with healthy boundaries, and infuse your life with habits that raise your frequency. And that'll be the group discussion for next week. But here's where Phil and Destiny, I want you to unmute yourselves. And I am interested in finding all my notes. I'm interested in hearing from you guys about, boundaries or times that you realized you needed boundaries and how they served you, and share some stuff with us a little bit.
Okay. So I have.
He's got a lot going on in the background there, but we're going to get past that. You're good.
In mine, you can hear a bunch of mine. Okay, it might calm down a second. Why don't you go ahead and talk first, Phil?
Okay. So we're talking about boundaries, and I want to bring up filters for a moment, because I've had some experiences in the last several months, and I know we all have, in ways that we might share with somebody something, and we might even express that we don't want that shared, or we don't, and then somebody goes off and does it. Filters are very important in communication. And I myself, as well as other people, work with others, and I have people that come to my center and that I work with in total private. And I think it's very important in communication that we have filters, that when somebody shares something with us, that we can keep that totally private, and we have that side to us. And then there again, there are people that have absolutely no filter, and it doesn't matter what you tell them or how you tell them, and you tell them you want it to stay between you, and they're definitely going to share it. Well, you can't share with them. And that's why it's important to have very strong filters in communication, because then you can have trust with people. People can trust you. You can trust them. And I just, when we talk about, having these boundaries and different things, that's a big part in communication, is having good filters to where we know when we should talk about something and absolutely then when we should not. So I just wanted to bring that
Phil,
up.
take us
I
a
think
little
that's
deep.
really important.
Take us a little deeper into this. Give us a little more about this. How you've dealt with people who didn't honor the filters. How you then set boundaries. I want to hear that. I want to hear the real stuff. I love the concept. Now tie it in
Right.
with some emotional backing.
And what it comes down to is there are times that we have to take a position where we may have to walk away completely from having a friendship from somebody when there is no what I might call ethics to the individual's ability to not be private with you. And it's very difficult to have a friendship, and a true friendship, with somebody that can't be private with you. And so, yeah, that is sometimes a very difficult thing to get up and walk away. I mean, there's situations, and we had a group happening a little while back that things sort of blew up because somebody didn't honor somebody else's wishes, and many of us ended up walking away from that whole situation because we couldn't be in that anymore. And it's very important for us to have our own ethical standards and stand up for them and honor them within ourselves and with others, to what we believe in and what we do as individuals and how we handle that. And as we do that, we set example for others as to how those relationships should work, and yeah, it's better all around.
Now, the situation you're talking about was one that you and I and Jennifer Urban, we were all involved in. You and Jen were even more involved than I was. It was a hard one. It was hard to see that side of that person, challenging to understand why it was happening. We all felt a closeness with that person and had attached ourselves to their vision and everything else. And then it ended up that they weren't walking the talk. Let's just say maybe that's the most politically correct way of doing it. But it was emotionally painful. I know it was for Jen. I don't want to put words in her mouth. I know it was for you. I know it was for me. But we all had to stand up for what we knew was right and what we believed in. And sometimes, the friendships don't maintain themselves because the other person isn't willing to step up to whatever it is. And so I appreciate you bringing that up. And Jen, when we get to the discussion, if you want to throw in anything on that, we will. I want to jump to Destiny first. Destiny, how's it going? Is it settled down in the background? All the kids.
I think it's a bit better now. Yeah. So I recently had a little bit of a challenging experience with my new partner. We are moving in together. He lives on a homestead with his parents. They have their house and he has his, and we had a little meeting and decided that we were all happy with me and the kids moving onto the property and everything. And we probably didn't go as deep into the conversation though as we should have. And so a couple of days go by, and Josiah and I decide to have our first day of work together. And I left the kids on the property while we went to work. And later that night we get home, and his mother sends a message that she would like to have a conversation with him the next morning. And we both just figured that the conversation was going to be about his dad's health because he'd had a doctor's appointment that was a little serious a couple of days beforehand. And so the next morning he goes and he has the conversation, and he comes back, and they had talked about his father's health a little bit, but the main point of the conversation was that they weren't comfortable with the kids being on the property without supervision. They felt like they were responsible for them, and they just didn't think it was a good decision, and we hadn't really communicated with them about it either. So I was taken aback by the whole thing, and I was very uncomfortable with the fact that I wasn't involved in the conversation. And I also, it brought up a lot of feelings. Like, now I can't work with him, and working with him is what I want to do. And um, like, someone's telling me what I can and cannot do with my kids, and that definitely like brings up a big trigger for me. And so, it, like, right from the get-go, my day was, I was just like, I was uncomfortable and angry about the situation. And so I talked with Josiah about it a little bit, as much as I could in the moment. But when I'm feeling heavy emotions, I found, for me personally, that it's best if I take a step back and think about why I'm feeling that way for a little bit. So I ended up leaving and going to work, and he had told me that he thought it was best if I just leave it be. But I was like, I'm not happy with the way that everything went down, so I'm not just gonna leave it be. And so after thinking about it for a good amount of time, I sent his parents a little group message, and I said, hey, I apologize for the lack of communication with what's going on, and not considering how you might feel responsible for them if I leave them there. But also, I do feel uncomfortable that you guys had this conversation without me. Like, we're all going to be living together, and I don't want Josiah to have to be a middleman if we're all going to continue to live on this property together. Um, and so they eventually, later that day, they got back to me, and we decided to have a little meeting with all of us together that night. And they apologized, and um, they said they were sorry for not including me, and that, we're all just kind of new and awkward, and they just kind of took the easy road, but they didn't think that that was a great idea. And um, we ended up coming to the conclusion that for the rest of the month, I would continue working in Coeur d'Alene, and so that so that I can take the kids with me into town, be with my friends or wherever, not on the property by themselves. And then when they go to school in the fall, then I can start working with Josiah. But the big thing about the whole situation was that instead of deciding that I wasn't going to get along with these people, or deciding that I was going to be angry or place blame somewhere else or anything, I just decided that good communication going forward was the way to handle it all. And I think it really made a difference in how they are going to view me and treat me going forward.
I really appreciate you sharing that story with us. It means a lot. I know beginning stages of a relationship and everything, and I know you well, and I know your intentions, and I love that part of the story was everyone putting their boundaries out on the table, and that's what we're talking about here, and what is okay and makes us feel good, and letting the other people know that. And I'm sure in the coming weeks and months, you're going to have great stories of things that are happening, and I know you always taking things to the next level, up leveling, and the next highest vibration, and what feels good, and making things right. And so I look forward to you sharing that with us, and it's so apropos to everything that we're talking about here. I thank you both for sharing, and now I want to move into the open forum. I want to remind people that we're going to keep the forum as part of the recorded video that goes up on YouTube. So not like the first couple of sessions where I cut it out. I decided that what I was cutting out was like sort of the heart and the meat of the results of of the talk and the wisdom presentation and everything like that. And so I want to keep that in. This is an opportunity for you to share how your mind work went, your homework from last week. Those 17-second increments of thinking about things, knowing that positive or negative, they are starting to create themselves, manifest themselves in reality in just 17 seconds. And how did it go with you, really watching and paying attention to your thoughts? Did you keep a frequency awareness journal? What raised your frequency? What lowered your frequency? Or what do you want to share with us? What did you all learn last week? And it'll be the same thing next week for the mind work that I've discussed. So this is the open forum. We've definitely got some time for it, and just unmute yourself and share as you would like to share.
Okay, I'll go.
Way to go, Susie.
First off, thank you so much. I came to this meeting forgetting who I am. and there isn't a square inch in this house that does not reflect some great high frequency object or music or the books that I read or I listen to. And I forgot. And so you just, and it's like I have this great selenite sword, and I have my Palo Alto, and I step inside. I've got a great big standing bowl, and from the vaulted ceiling, I have all kinds of copper coming down into a cage with pyramids of crystal, and then hanging down with wands with some more Lumerian crystal that aims right at the top of my head as I'm standing in this bowl, which is surrounded by all kinds of rocks and gems. And boy, I step in there and I can do just a few minutes of washing myself in the light, and sending everything down a silver tube at the end of my spine that goes to the center of the earth, and just let it. And I don't even have to know what it is. It's like it's just this washing. And so just even this whole conversation tonight was like, oh yeah, okay, I remember. I remember who I am. And I apparently my body is trying to digest watermelon seeds, which it doesn't like doing that. And so I've just, I've been, that was where I was feeling misaligned and forgetting who I am beyond all of that. I mean, those are just symptoms of being human, and it has nothing to do with the essence and the core of who I am. And I know I need to, or I want to, keep connecting in with that. And you were just so good. Everything that you have around your place, I have. Well, you've been here, and it's like I have so much that you didn't see that's around in my house that for me to actually forget who I am is incredible.
I tell you, if you can forget who you are with all the amazing things you have in your space. Stephanie and I were there in the last few weeks, and it was a most amazing experience for us. We love you so much, Susie. And your space was like we walked into a place that we could have decorated ourselves, and we not only felt at home, but everywhere I looked, I felt what I'm talking about. And so I so love that you just shared, so often it's somebody whose home I haven't been to or something like that. And so for you to share all that is great. And I always appreciate seeing you. And you and I had an 82-minute phone call the other day. And I came inside and said to Stephanie, I just had the most amazing call with Susie, and it was so uplifting. And that call raised my frequency and set a tone for the day. And so I appreciate the role you play in my life, and watching the role you play in your own life. So thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Daryl? Yes.
Yeah, thank you. This, I don't even know where to begin. I mean, you're so powerful. You've just got all this power, energy just flowing out of you. It was intense and brilliant and wonderful and uplifting. So thank you. Um, Also, I wanted to mention, I was really grateful that Phil was talking about filters because filters are a big deal. And so I was thinking about what are my filters while he was sharing it. And then I realized I have one basic filter, which is always with my intention, my baseline is about intending to be of value. So if my baseline is that intention, then things like I'm about to maybe share something confidential with someone. And I ask myself before I do that, will this be of value if I share this with someone? And that then becomes, where if I'm getting a no, my intuition is saying not to share that with that person, or it's not the right time, or whatever. But it helps me organize how I be, is that. And then on top of it, the other part that you were talking about, Dr. Dream, about, people that you're now coming out and saying like what your behavior is such that it's causing this and this and that, right? And so, and that was challenging situation to do. Well, another baseline being intending to be a value, or when people come and they do victimization and all of that. So it's not like, so being polite isn't being a value. The truth is a value said in a non-judgmental manner, And so when that happens, I think a lot of this is really when the baseline is intention to be a value, and that's just like how you be, as Phil would say. But then too, on top of it, it's a wonderful filter. And I haven't heard anyone talk about filter like that, or really for a very long time, or anything in the neighborhood of how you did. So thank you, Phil, for bringing that up. It was good stuff. But that would be, something that seems to have a lot of cascading value to filtering, is starting with the intention. And then another intention I thought of really quickly is, what is my intention in wanting to share this confidentiality? So taking a look at that, like what's my intent to share before I share? Do you know what I mean? Because,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So anyway, thank you. Thank you so much for this wonderful meeting. And Phil, thank you. Thank you. Wonderful you.
Thank you, Daryl. I appreciate you being here. We've still got a few more minutes. Anybody else want to chime in?
I'll share a little bit.
Yay!
So as I'm sitting here and I'm thinking just really how appreciative I am of this group and you, Dr. Dream, and Daryl, your part in bringing people together to help us all to, raise our consciousness and clear some of this negativity that's going on is so important. And I really appreciate you and everybody in the group. Sometimes it's hard when we're doing our work and we're trying to be of service and of value to so many people that need it, and they're coming in and it can be easy to be drained and just be exhausted, because you're always giving so much of yourself. And that's me. And maybe, there's two sides to the filter too that came up during that discussion. And one part is, what are we giving? What are we filtering out to give? And I've had that thought and that feeling myself too with, you all the information is coming in from the world and this, and there are some important things, and there are some things that just give you a charge, and it's like, oh, such and such needs to see this one. It's really beneficial. But if I sit on it, not always, but oftentimes I'll be like, do I really need to share this? And I'll get a no. It's like, yeah, I don't really have to share this one. This one's good. But the other side of the filter is the filter of what we're letting in. And for me, I think that's the harder one. Because we're absorbing, we care so deeply about humanity, about what's going on in the world. We tend to see things differently than a lot of people. And we just want to help. But then there's the side of, okay, what are we bringing in? Are we bringing in all of these people? Some people might call them energy vampires or whatever that need this help. We attract this. And how we handle that? You know what I mean? So I love the conversation around the filters, because it does help to remind me that it's me. I have to fill my own cup up. I can't rely on other people to fill me up. I have to remember. So your examples today, Dr. Dream, about first thing in the morning, remember every single morning to put the bubble around you, to set your intentions and fill your cup, and energetically only allow in what's going to serve you and someone else, that's not going to drain you completely, because then you're of no value. But also having a group of people like we have right here that have come together through all of this, that we know we can have these conversations and we can help each other to raise our frequency back up. So in a nutshell, that's basically what I had to share.
Awesome, Jen. Thank you so much. If somebody has a pressing desire to share, we can do that. Otherwise, it is 1 minute after 7. And I promise next week we'll have more of an opportunity to share.
Dr. Dream,
Yes.
I do have one quick thing.
Yes,
I came
dear.
across a documentary that's only an hour long called Sensitive. And I feel like maybe everybody else in the world has already seen it, but I shared it with the practitioner you referred me to, and she was like, oh my gosh, this helped me. I'm going to share with my husband. He already knows I'm sensitive, but somehow it's validating. And 20% of men, 20% of women, 20% of male and female children, 20% of animals are sensitive. And it's actually a beneficial trait, because we notice things that other people don't notice. So it's a safety thing. It's got lots of benefits. So I'll drop this little link in the chat that I found. If anybody wants to check it out. And it just has been a tremendous blessing. I'm going to have my boys watch it, because I think they might be sensitive.
Deanna,
yes.
Thank you. I just want to add, because that I have seen it, and it is amazing. Anybody that hasn't, maybe take some time to watch that one. I wanted to add, because I have one of my sons is he struggles with stuff too, and I just want to add to it that Alanis Morissette is spotlighted in this, and that when they talk about the sensitive, it has nothing to do with being on the spectrum or anything like that. It's a completely different type of sensitivity, where people are super sensitive to the energies around them. And I think it's like the negative energies, they're hypersensitive. So they, coming to the realization that it's not something that's new just to them, that there are ways to handle it and deal with it. It is, I think it's a really good thing for people to watch and share with people that they feel might be struggling with that.
That's beautiful. Thank you. The person that it reminded me of was a woman. I had always admired her relationship with the divine, and And yet it puzzled me so much. She'd call me early in the morning and say, "Could you come clean my house today? I was up at 3 in the morning. The dust just accumulated so much by 3 in the morning that I had to get up and vacuum my room before I could go back to sleep." And I'm like, wow, that's weird. She's just sensitive. And so her sensitivity is to God, her sensitivity is to dust. She's sensitive. I was like, okay, you kick it up 10 notches, girl. And
Well,
it was beautiful.
This will be interesting. I have not heard of this, and I will, Stephanie and I will make a point of watching this in the next week. I want to wish Linda a happy birthday. You go off, is it tomorrow for a 10-day Vipassana?
Ah,
I leave Wednesday morning. It starts around 2. So I have about a 4.5 hour drive.
Wishing you a fabulous, expansive, grounding experience that gives you everything that you're looking to receive out of it. It is quite a powerful undertaking, and I honor you for doing that. And then I also honor you for having another birthday. It's nice that you're here.
Yeah, well, it's pretty cool, like bringing in my 65th birthday in silence and just connecting me. I've never been with me to that extent for 10 days, complete silence and just focusing on the inner. So it's going to be interesting.
Well, I
I
think
don't know who I'll be, so hasta luego. Like, hopefully a lot of Linda ego is not going to be back.
Well, I think you're an amazing person, and so I can only imagine how nice it'll be for you to be with you for 10 days in silence. I want to take this opportunity. Normally, we do a little meditation at the end. We're going to forgo that. I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone that showed up tonight here for the It's All Good Circle, a place where you will always find love and support and a sense of community that is here and open to you. Thank you all for sharing. And the last thing, just take it to heart. I love you. Thank you so much for being here. Have an all good week, and we'll see you next week on the It's All Good Circle. Thank you all. Good night.
Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
Wonderful.
Thank
Bless you
you.
all.
Love you.
Happy birthday, Linda.
Love you.
Love
Happy
you.
birthday, Linda.
Guys.
Happy birthday.